This data presentation will show GDP and population figures from 1985 through the present and then projected out to the year 2050. The small dots represent people, and the pipe cleaners represent GDP figures. Ultimately, the world was fairly poor in 1985, but as we can see, population and GDP grew relatively rapidly, with population growing faster first in Asia and other such countries. However, GDP still grew faster than population around the world, and people got relatively better off. This was especially rapid in Europe and North America, as our economies grew to increase the wealth of our populaces. The economies also grew in Asia and Africa and the Middle East, as well as South America. Unfortunately, Africa's growth rates lagged behind the rest of the world, and moving toward the present, they are still the poorest continent. The data we currently have shows that Asia is rapidly approaching the wealth levels of North America and Europe. The Middle East, meanwhile, has a fairly well-off economy along with South America. Unfortunately, Africa remains a relatively poor country. Moving out into the future, low population growth that can potentially be negative, combined with at least decent GDP growth, means that Europe is expected to be the richest per capita economy in the year 2050. North America, with very respectable GDP growth and some population growth, will follow in second. This will be followed by the Middle East and Asia, which will both have fairly prosperous economies, followed by South America, not far behind, and Africa, the very lowest income region on Earth. Overall, we could see that over the past 35 years and into the next 35 years, the world has changed rapidly, leading to massive GDP growth and general equalization of GDP levels across the planet. More people have been and will be lifted out of poverty, despite the problems that still exist and will continue to exist. The GDP of the world has grown hugely and will continue to grow at a rapid rate. Fortunately, this will result in massive reductions in poverty and improvement in global living standards. However, it has not affected all peoples equally. There is still work to be done, especially in Africa, where growth rates have lagged far behind the rest of the world.